everyone. In the next couple of sections, we are going to talk about various single case research designs. And after learning about all of the different designs in isolation, we'll talk a little bit about how you can combine elements of various designs or just modify the designs to answer the questions that you have. But as you're going through the designs, I want you to keep in the back of your mind how flexible single case research design can be. So, for example, it's possible to combine various design elements. So, as an example of that, I might embed a withdrawal element into a multiple baseline design. I don't have to keep the withdrawal and reversal designs on their own and the multiple baseline designs on their own. I can combine those elements. Or I've seen people combine like an alternating treatment design within a multiple baseline design. The other thing that I want you to keep in mind is that your research question is ultimately going to determine the design that you'll use. So, for example, some colleagues and I were recently interested in evaluating strategies to increase physical activity in college students, and so we evaluated the use of a goal setting intervention. And that research question lent itself very nicely to a changing criterion design because we were systematically altering their physical activity goals. So you'll want to keep in mind that your research question should really kind of guide you in selecting your research design and the design elements that you will include. The other thing that I want you to keep in mind is that single case research design allows you a lot of flexibility in your clinical practice. Remember, as scientist practitioners, we always want to be making database decisions regarding the effectiveness of our interventions for our clients. And so by collecting data and using single case research design, you can certainly be more confident about whether or not your intervention was effective. And in single case research design, you can systematically add or withdraw different intervention components as it makes sense. So, say that I'm working with a child who tantrums, I'm going to collect my baseline data showing me my what the rate of tantruming looks like in the absence of intervention. And I might implement an intervention. And if that intervention isn't working, then I can modify. I can add components or remove components, or I can tweak things. And so you're always going to let your data guide you. I would indicate this on the same graph. So long as I have the same outcome variable, right? So maybe like percentage of intervals in which tantruming occurred, then I would simply just draw a phase change line. Remember, if you have a minor change, you're going to make a dotted phase change line. So for example, say that I'm changing the schedule of reinforcement but keeping the end of the intervention largely the same, I might use the dashed phase change line. But if I'm completely changing the intervention, then I'm going to use a solid phase change line. So I just wanted you to be aware of some of these things. The other thing to keep in mind in your applied practice is that you don't necessarily need to go back to baseline. So you'll learn that a withdrawal design is A, B, A, B, A, B. But in my clinical practice, I might do an A, B, B plus C, B, A, B plus C, so you can change the different phases and make comparisons that way depending upon your client's progress. So I think that's about all I wanted to say today. As you're reviewing the content for each design over the next couple of weeks, just keep in mind the flexibility of single case research design and think about how you can combine elements to answer your applied questions and your research questions.